No.
Take two.
Take
All
two.
right, here we go. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting in the Town Center Advisory Board for Thursday, February 19th, 2026. If we could have a roll call, please.
Vice Chair Stephenson.
Here.
Loretta Wiltkin. Diane Castillo-White.
Present.
Jim Hill.
Here.
Will Knight, he's excused.
He is working out of town tonight.
Victoria Rizzo.
Here.
Frank Stevens.
Here.
Woodrow.
He is there.
He's online. Great. Shirley Prickett.
Here.
And Sherry Winters. Oh, Loretta is excused.
Okay. Great. This time I would like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mr. Hill will be leading us this evening.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is there anyone wishing to provide public comment to the board this evening? Seeing none, we will move on. Did everyone see the minutes from October 16th? That's a yes? Okay. All right. Any corrections to those? None? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve those.
It's Victoria. I motion to approve the October 16th, 2025 minutes as written.
I second. This is Shirley.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from October 16th, 2025 as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that carries. And now we will move on to the update on the Confluence. Erica Palmer.
I'll start you. Well, I was hoping to have an update for you about the Confluence this evening. But we are still in negotiations. We have a meeting set up for tomorrow, actually. And so with that, because of confidentiality, I really can't say too much. But I'm hoping that, next month, we may have an update for you all.
And you want to do a trail? Sharon Nesbitt?
Why don't you go ahead?
I was just going to say that the Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park Trail, which is on the site, is the bridge under the railroad tracks is still closed for construction at this time, and we're planning another celebratory event to gather the community and enjoy this new park in the springtime. We're looking at some dates in June, or we decided on a date in June?
I think it's June 20th.
Yes,
Yes,
so this
June
is gonna
20th.
be, we had a ribbon cutting that was in October. And with the closure of the bridge, it hasn't been able to get as much use as we were hoping, but people are still definitely out there using it, and we just want to have a nice spring weather celebration of this new park and trail and celebrate all the hard work that went into pulling it all off, and also celebrate Sharon, who's it's dedicated to, so yeah.
With the community. So this event is going to be much more community orientated, family orientated than the event that was held in October during the day on a weekday. So we're going to hold this on a weekend, invite lots of families, have lots of activities for kids, and it should be a really fun time.
When is the inspection getting done so that can be opened?
I want to say the metal that they ordered for the elevated deckway for the cover. It's been ordered. It's just been difficult for them to get. It hasn't arrived. And
Has it
once,
been mined?
I hope so.
Okay, just checking.
So I expect that welding to take place probably within the next week and a half to 2 weeks. And once that is installed, we can have our final inspection from the railroad and it will reopen.
Okay.
The word has definitely been getting out about it, though. We've had a lot of people coming to visit it and explore it, and potentially just walk around the barrier and still walk on it. But lots of people are out and about and really enjoying the park, even though it's not entirely finished yet. So really excited to see what it brings this summer.
And the Oregon State Lottery is going to be out at the park in early April.
Selling tickets?
Yeah, no, selling tickets. Doing a short little film.
Yeah, they're doing a promotional video on how lottery dollars are spent across the state, and this is one of the projects that they've selected because Oregon State Parks provided us, or Oregon Parks and Recreation Department provided us a grant that helped contribute to the creation and construction of the trail, and those funds come from the Oregon State Lottery. So this is a site that's been selected to promote where your lottery dollars go.
We might be on TV.
Well, maybe we can get some more lottery dollars for some other things. Just saying.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just one other thing on the October, you said it was midweek during the day and all of that.
Beautiful weather.
I thought you guys did a great job putting that event together, and I thought the turnout was outstanding. That's just my own opinion. But I thought it was very nicely done.
I'm particularly proud of our coordination of the weather. So that worked out quite in our favor, which you can't normally say in October.
No, I thought it was very nicely done, so thank you.
We're looking forward to the large celebration and having lots of fun activities to share with the whole community and not just the ribbon cutting. So
I'm crossing my fingers for a marching band.
that can be on her to-do list.
I wanted to see if Mr. Stevens wanted to add anything. You're down there more than anyone.
The park's looking great. The playground inspections complied with. We did have a couple of items we're looking at, like water pressure. One of the playground areas where the water comes out, the drainage is a little off, but everyone's using it. In fact, more adults than kids, which is a lot of fun to watch. So, yeah, dog walkers. It's becoming a daily trend. I'm seeing the same people around the city utilizing the space, which is awesome. Yeah, so it's great to see people from Troutdale actually out there every day, even in the nasty weather. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's looking great. Oh, and we just planted some trees from Friends of Trees. We had some donations from Friends of Trees, so we did Italian cypress at the first play area, which will make some great shade in the future. So, yeah.
No cottonwoods. Okay, good.
No cottonwoods, no. No more cottonwoods. Thank you.
All right. And that's it.
That's it.
Any questions? From the committee? No? Okay. All right. 2025 tourism.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen really quick. I'm very quickly updating the date so it doesn't look like last year. There we go. Okay. So, okay, let's see if we can get the.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, thank you. So last year, about this time of year, maybe about a month, in March, I gave a presentation to the city council that was a 2024 tourism and economic development review. It was well received, and I figured that this committee would be interested in seeing this information prior to it going to council, and maybe providing suggestions or comments on some of the things that the division's working on. So I figured you'd all find it interesting to get this information. A lot of this data that is in here was very recently released, as in like this past week. So I might not have the answers to everything, and I might still make some adjustments to this before council, but I thought it would be good to get this all in front of you, so you have the information.
And
So
it's going to council on March 11th.
yes, March 11th. So I'll give a little brief introduction. The destination and strategy brand information is very similar to what I presented last year, but just to reiterate those, I've included it again, as well as some of the work that we completed this year. I've got the downtown event data from 2025, the domestic tourism report, and then some things that we'll be working on this year. So in 1972, Troutdale established its first transient lodging tax of 6%, which goes towards our general fund. And in 1999, that tax was increased to 6.95%, with the 0.95% earmarked for tourism promotion activities, such as operating a visitor center and events. And that those funds were distributed to the West Columbia Gorge Chamber of Commerce until July of 2020, when the Budget Committee and City Council decided to create the Tourism and Economic Development Division and redirected those dollars into the general fund, which funds that division. This new division's tasks include tourism promotion of Troutdale, implementation of the town center plan, vision and goals, economic development and business recruitment, and marketing and promotion of the Confluence at Troutdale for the Urban Renewal Agency. In this past year, one of our goals from last year was to begin collecting transient lodging tax on short-term rentals, and we did pass the necessary municipal code updates in January of this year to actually begin doing that. So as of a few days ago, I think that went into effect, and we're still working with the necessary divisions in the city to make sure that that all gets collected. Airbnb is a very secretive organization who I am apparently not allowed to have the emails to anyone who works there. But we have an in with Airbnb, and that person has given them the municipal code updates. So supposedly they will begin sending us money. Fingers crossed. And so this presentation is going to sort of review 2025 and highlight the progress that the division that the city created and is funding through these funds was made over the last year. So as I mentioned, the destination strategy this is similar information to what it was in the previous year's presentation, but in 2024 we began implementing the Troutdale Destination Strategy, which outlines a 15-year plan to establish Troutdale as a premier gateway to the Columbia River Gorge and a vibrant small town destination. It built upon work that was done with the town center plan and included a public engagement process that expanded upon the work that was previously done and included a lot more of our tourism partners in its creation. And so the strategy really had a lot of stakeholder input and collaboration with those tourism experts and those working in the field. And it focuses on enhancing car-free travel, vitalizing our downtown, connecting the Sandy River, and building a strong tourism ecosystem. We have 4 strategic impact areas that have a various different breakdown of strategies and objectives that we can take to meet these overall strategic impact areas. And these 4 things are: become the gateway to the Columbia River Gorge and a base camp for car-free travel, increase connectivity with the wild and scenic Sandy River while protecting its ecological values, improve the vibrancy of our quaint downtown by evolving the visitor experience, and connect and build our tourism ecosystem. In the past couple of years, we've applied for a number of various grants that we've successfully received, particularly around the connectivity with the Sandy River. So we did a Sandy River shuttle feasibility study, and then we also were awarded a grant to do a pilot, Sandy River shuttle pilot, which I'll briefly talk about a little bit later, but that's gonna be this summer that rolls out. So we're working really hard on getting that all ready to go. But so we've really spent a lot of time in that area of category B, as well as the other work that we've been doing within each of these areas. So our brand objective is establish Troutdale as an easy must-visit destination for Columbia River Gorge travelers like Hood River, Vista House, and Multnomah Falls. Troutdale becomes synonymous with an outstanding gorge experience. And our brand positioning establishes us as the gateway to the gorge. So it really embraces that role that we have in promoting it as a must-visit starting point for exploring the Columbia River Gorge and a destination in its own right. The brand highlights Troutdale's small town charm, a vibrant downtown with local businesses and proximity to natural wonders like the Sandy River and historic Columbia River Highway and adjacent waterfalls, of course. The goal is to shift perceptions from being just a stopover to a dynamic adventure hub with recreational activities, local culture, and unique attractions. And the brand voice is inviting, folksy, and adventurous, resonating with visitors seeking outdoor experiences and small town hospitality. So one of the taglines that we've been using in our marketing is "It all starts in Troutdale," and that's been about, the historic Columbia River Highway starts in Troutdale. The Mount Hood Scenic Byway technically ends in Troutdale, but if you reverse it, it starts in Troutdale. Depends on which way you're coming from. And, going for a very long time, Troutdale has been seen as the last town in the Portland metro, and we've reframed this to be the first town in the Columbia River Gorge. And so Gateway to the Gorge is all about embracing that it starts in Troutdale, that the Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area and all this beauty and the waterfalls that starts in Troutdale. So that's what our marketing has really been focusing on. And anytime we put out information on how to visit Multnomah Falls or go see the waterfalls or go up to Mount Hood or do all these other sort of things, we always try to bring it back to it all starts in Troutdale. And so how can we drop in starting here and ending here and trying to bring it all back to Troutdale?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
In that, are you bringing up anything like the museums that we have that you can learn about the beginning of, the creation of the gorge and such?
Yeah, so with the destination brand, this is talking a lot about the destination brand really right here. We have the Explore Troutdale website. We've got all of our marketing materials. We partner with the Historical Society to market our museum in some of our advertising as well. And we have various different marketing things that we put out. But yes, we do the museums, we do the shopping, we do the dining, we do all of the various things about Troutdale. But
I've seen all that. I just didn't see it as part of the goals or you know what I mean, just talking about so far what we're talking about. I just a comment.
Yeah.
Just because that's really important, because we have the 2 Sam statue, and then we have, educating them before the mile marker 0 on the west side of the Troutdale Bridge, and then there's that museum that explains what they're entering, they're entering into.
Yeah, so in some of the different visitor guide magazines that are out there, we specifically put in information about the museum and how the best way to start your trip to the gorge is by going to the museum. So it is in our marketing. It's just not in it doesn't say it in this specific statement, but yeah, it's in there. And so this year we did, one of our other goals of the year was to do brochures and maps with our new destination brand. And we got a lot of that done this past year in 2025, a lot. This is a very busy page that shows you some of the various different things that we did, but you can see the destination brand logo, you can see the colors, you can see the different fonts that have come out of it, you can see the postcards, the coupons that we did for Windy Wonderland, the cover of the map that we made, the note card, It says it all starts in Troutdale, and one of the things that I really love about the brand is how much of it is rooted in the history of Troutdale and how that's sharing the story, the small town story of Troutdale. So all of the sketches that you see on this page come from the historic Columbia River Highway blueprints that ODOT had commissioned in the 90s. So they basically did this, it was an artistic thing rather than the actual blueprints, but they went out and redrew all of those as if they were the original blueprints, and that included sketches of all the waterfalls and the Vista House and whatnot and the bridges. And those are in the Library of Congress, so I didn't have to pay anyone to use them, and now they're in all of our marketing. And what that did for us, though, was it defined what our illustration style is for the brand, because we found this authentic to Troutdale piece of art that we could then use as a style to replicate in other things. So then when you see the marketing for our events that have illustrations on them, you'll notice that the illustration style is very similar to this illustration style, because that's how we've decided it will all look based off of these blueprints. And so it's on our waterfall map, it's on these note cards, and we get to, it really guides us in future expansions of the brand. We also use a lot of historic photos in our marketing because we've got some really cool historic photos. And the thing that I really enjoy about using the historic photos is that it tells people that we've always been here. We've always been doing this. We've always been having fun, and you can now join us. You can come visit now. We've always been, taking these scenic drives up to the Vista House, or pulling people off the highway with freeway signs to drive through Troutdale. We've always been doing these fun things. I've got tons of great photos of people in the Sandy River and stuff like that. And so the historic photos really give the sense that we've always been having fun in a cool little town, and you can come have fun too. It also guides when we think about what future photographic needs we have. Well, for one, the historic photos are very inexpensive to use because we already have them, they've already been taken. So that's also another cost-saving measure. But then in the future, we can try to ensure that our photographic style feels more historic. So maybe we take them with film, or we add filters to them that give it more of that vintage feel. So that's helped us with our future photography needs.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
before I turn? Is it a postcard? Is that the idea?
Yes, and I brought stuff for you
So
guys.
is this you have this at the visitor center, you sell them,
Yep.
Yeah, and so if somebody calls the visitor center and they're from out of state and they're looking for additional information, the greeters at the visitor center oftentimes will get their information and actually send them a postcard from Troutdale.
Yep.
It's a very good marketing tool and strategy.
So I brought some of all of these things for you guys to have. So feel free to take a postcard. I'll talk about the postcard first. We had a ton of people reaching out to, or coming into the visitor center saying, I want to send a postcard. This is what I do. I collect postcards from all the towns that I go to. And we didn't have postcards, but I knew we also needed to give people directions for how to drive the historic highway. And so what the postcard does is it's a free postcard that we can give when people ask. But it also has a QR code to our website, which has the driving instructions and what you can see along the historic Columbia River Highway. So it's both a public service sort of a thing where we're helping people, because you can't get Google Maps to actually tell you how to drive the historic highway. I don't know if you know this or not, but it will not. It'll only take you on 84. You can't make it even take you on the highway. So it was this need that we had where it was we're telling people every single day, drive over the bridge, take a right, follow it, look for the Highway 30 signs. You're probably going to miss them because there's not enough of them. Take a left, it's we're telling people all these instructions, but we didn't have a way to give anyone a Google Map directions. And the link actually has an All Trails GPS. All Trails is a digital mapping thing for hiking and cycling and whatnot, but they also have scenic drives. So you could go into All Trails, and it's set up where it has different viewpoints and places to stop along the way that we've populated in there. So that was pretty fun, and those postcards are free at the visitor center for people to come in and take.
Honestly, I was thinking at first that if you had it where the stamp was already on it, so to speak, or the postage was there, and they just purchased it and jotted a note, and there was a spot to stick it in right there to.
Ironically, the thing we don't have is a mailbox. So, gotta work on that, but I think that even then, I'm not sure that we're actually able to sell or like be able to, have people mail things out from it. But there's a post office in Bridal Veil. And so if people want the insider, like, fun thing to do, we'll tell them that they should take their postcard up to Bridal Veil and mail it from the Bridal Veil post office, which is a special fun little thing.
So cute.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the postcard, and then you'll see that it all starts in Troutdale card up on there. That's our stationery, and we have two different versions of it. We've got a blue version and we've got a green version, and I brought 6 of each of them, and there happens to be 6 of you guys in here today, so you guys can take 1 or 2 or both if you really want it. And the reason I got the stationery cards is because we also in the visitor center receive requests for mailed packets. Like, they want you to send them brochures or magazines in the mail. This is not as popular as it used to be because now we have the internet, so not a lot of people ask for these things. But every once in a while we get calls from people or emails from people saying that they would love for us to mail them some information. And what we do, they're not next to each other, so you can grab the green one from the stack. What we do with these postcards or with these note cards is whenever the staff is mailing out a packet of information, I have them handwrite a note to the person who's receiving that information. And I try to tell them to make a specific recommendation. If you can make a recommendation, like if you learn something about them, like that they like to go fishing, you could make a specific fishing recommendation. If you don't know anything about them, just put what's your favorite thing to do, or what's your favorite restaurant or something like that. Just something in there that's personal, so that everyone who receives these brochure packets gets a really like personalized introduction to Troutdale. Because a lot of times they'll request this information, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna stay in Troutdale. And it's really rare for us to get to interact with someone who hasn't made a decision yet. Most of the time, if they're coming into the visitor center, they've already chosen a hotel. They already are staying someplace, and this is our one opportunity to convince them to stay in a hotel in Troutdale.
And spend their dollars
And
in
spend their
Troutdale.
dollars in Troutdale. And so us writing this letter is the least we could do to turn that into actual money spent here in Troutdale. So, and it's the small town charm. I mean, it's a personalized letter, and the people who get these packets, they love it. So it's a very fun little thing to add into there. So that's what we do with those note cards. Here's my business card. If anyone wants them, I got those this year too. So, and
Figured this was coming.
in case you need to hand it out to anyone, the really, really big thing that we did this year was the map. This is the visitor map that we created, and it was a labor of love. And potentially banging my head against a wall. Maps are very, very difficult to make, and we wanted to do a lot of different things with this map. We have so many different maps of the gorge, and all of them do things a little bit differently or give information a little bit differently. Some of the maps leave Troutdale off. They start in Corbett. Some of the maps don't have information about how far you'd have to walk from the parking lot to the waterfall. Some of the maps only show state park sites, and they don't show Forest Service sites. There's all these different maps out there, and we were giving out like 5 or 6 different maps to every single person who came into the visitor center because they all said something different. So we created a map that starts in Troutdale. And we, I don't know what Kenny's pointing at right now, but you can ask that question in a moment. So we created a map that starts in Troutdale, and on one side of it is our information on Troutdale, and the other side is from Troutdale to Cascade Locks. And we call it the Wander the Waterfalls touring map. because we want to catch people's eye when they see it in a brochure rack. Of all the brochure racks, we want them to say, I want to go wander the waterfalls, because that is why people are coming to this area. That is why people may choose to stop in Troutdale or may choose to stay overnight in Troutdale. And then we get them with all the Troutdale info when they open the map up. and then they've got all the rest of the info on the back there. So this map, we have it in both the folded version, which will go in the brochure racks at the Oregon State Welcome Centers and the Portland hotels. And I'm looking at a couple of different other marketing areas that we can include those brochures. And we also have them in these large tear-off pads at the visitor center, where the visitor center greeters can write directly on them and give specific recommendations or suggestions and things like that. You'll notice that it doesn't have it doesn't have all the business names listed out on it, and that's because of the rate with which they change. It does have a couple of them, but the ones that it has are either related to the parks or lodging. It's our lodging, or they're like a downtown area or a specific area. So it's like just the outlets, instead of each individual outlet. If I had to do every single store in the outlet mall, I would have to change this map all the time because they come and go, So we are looking at, for this year, maybe doing another little panel insert. So it would be just the 4x9 shape to just do the downtown and actually go through the different restaurants and shops, because people do ask, where can I go for lunch? What should I, where can I find a gift for my significant other? All these other sorts of things. And we can circle it on the map, but they kind of need to see it and remember the name and whatnot. So we're going to look at doing that sort of an insert for the future. But we didn't want it to be on this map because it would potentially cause us to have to redo it all the time.
I don't know if this would work or not. Just a thought, though. If you roughly had numbers along like the street of like the building location sort of, and then your insert was always like who's in what number at that time, so that it would be, those would always be where they're at, but then the insert would say kind of who's there, who's not, if that was.
Yeah, the challenge is getting the right perspective on the map, because the hardest part to show all the details is for downtown, but then you're trying to be like, but it's not just downtown. We've got McMenamins, and we've got the Troutdale Station, and we've got the Sandy River, and we've got all these parks, and so you're trying to like show the proximity of all these things.
Yeah.
But then it's like downtown ends up looking super small. Yeah. So I think my idea is that, so it would be the same as one of those panels, and one side would be just that downtown section, but much bigger.
Oh, okay.
And then that will be the one with the numbers. And then the other side of that will actually have those businesses listed out.
Sure.
So it's the same concept, but then it's not so cluttered on this, because it already is kind of a lot at times.
Sure.
But yeah, so that is the map. This is the back side of the map with that information. It was very hard to verify all of those parks and the amenities that they have, because some of them are state park owned, some of them are Forest Service owned, some of them are privately owned, or who knows what. There's multiple Bridge of the Gods trailheads. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they couldn't come up with a second name for that in Cascade Locks, but so it was pretty difficult to come up with this. There's the state one and there's the federal one.
Yes.
Which, yeah, it was a whole thing, but we got it done. And I really hope you don't find any errors, because I don't want to do it again.
The crazy thing is when it pours for a long period of time, or we have the unique ice storm and stuff, our historic highway in Troutdale becomes a massive amount of waterfalls. Mm-hmm. That is so beautiful and pretty, which it's just so fun to look at.
Yep. And you'll notice there's all the different information, and we try to show what has accessible parking and accessible restrooms versus not. And then, one of the waterfalls that I really went back and forth with was Shepherd's Dell, which is on all the maps, because it's on the waterfall corridor, but it does not have parking. And we don't like to tell people to stop there because it's not really safe to park there, because you have to park on the side of the highway, which you're not legally allowed to do. So I don't know where they expect anyone to park. And I think that everyone just wants to be like, well, it's not really an issue, so we're not gonna figure it out. But we don't feel safe telling people to stop there. And now in the age of the internet and social media, you'll see videos of Shepherd's Tail, the most amazing, it's like, it can blow up overnight in these viral videos or these AI videos. AI videos has been a problem. We've had people come into the visitor center and be like, what? It was supposed to look like this. And we have to tell them, that's AI. And so, all this information helps us explain that to people. That has actually happened multiple times. We also had a satirical website make a post about Multnomah Falls charging pay-per-view, like TV pay-per-view, and people thought that was real, and we've had people come in and ask us questions about that. And one of our website search results, like top hits, is people searching Multnomah Falls pay-per-view. And I'm like, because a satirical website put that out and enough people didn't realize it was satirical. So,
Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Yes. Do believe the visitor center with the correct information. Moral of the story. We've got the info if you need it. So.
You don't believe everything that comes from the internet?
When they post a picture of you AI, let me know. I'll believe it when I see it.
So we have accomplished a lot in regards to expanding upon the visitor brand this year and getting these print materials made and these resources for our visitors and our visitor center greeters. They really love having this map and all the work that we put into it, and it really helps how they explain it to people. But the visitor center has been growing in popularity every single year. Last year, so another thing that the visitor center does is it gives the same day in-person Multnomah Falls permits out. So you can go there and get a free permit to go to park in Multnomah Falls I-84 parking lot. We get 25 a day, and we we handed them all out on multiple occasions. I should know that number off the top of my head, but I don't, but I will remember it before the council meeting. But we went from the previous year only having done that on one day to last year, I think it was about 10 days.
I can't believe it doesn't happen every day in a way that people
Well,
just
maybe it's because it's the best kept secret.
It is a bit of the best kept secret, and
It's getting out there. Word's getting out.
But if we sold those, we can't.
How can somebody get one for the next day, or is it day of?
it's day of, yep. Yeah, and so right now, Cascade Locks is actually going through some stuff with their tourism committee and visitor center, and so I don't know if they're still gonna have the permits or not, but the state and the feds, I should say, are considering giving us more of those permits, since we did successfully hand out so many of them, and our visitor center is open every single day. And during the period of the permit, it's 9 to 5 every day, and so we're really consistent, and we've been a good partner with them, and they've appreciated that, so hopefully they do end up doing that.
We've handed out more than they have?
No, we don't, they only give us a certain amount, but for Cascade Locks, yes, last year we handed out more than Cascade Locks did. Every day. Yeah, Cascade Locks almost never handed out more than, but what's interesting is previously they did hand out more. And the difference was when Sasquatch Shuttle came to Troutdale, we started handing out more permits.
So you stole their customers.
Well, and it's not just that. Well, part of it is because it's definitely not just that. What used to happen was the permit checkers. So Sasquatch Shuttle used to be located at the Palmer Mill site off of the Bridalveil exit. So when that was the case, someone would, if they didn't have a permit and they went to Multnomah Falls and they got turned around, they would turn around, go to the Sasquatch Shuttle parking lot by Palmer Mill and just hop on there to go to Multnomah Falls. Since it's in Troutdale now, more people are choosing to either get on the shuttle or to see if we have any of the permits. But because Sasquatch Shuttle is in Troutdale, if we do run out of the permits, we can tell anyone who comes in, we handed all of them out today, but you can take this shuttle, here's how you do that. And so we have that backup option, so we don't have to tell anyone you can't go see it. It's just, this is how.
Does the Sasquatch shuttle, it doesn't stop in Troutdale, does it?
Yeah.
It's out of the outlet mall.
It's
It's
out the,
based here.
It's based here.
but when it starts at the outlet mall, does it just drive through downtown Troutdale? Like, it stops in locations?
No, because it's a double-decker bus, so it would not clear the bridge over the Sandy River.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's a really large vehicle. That
Okay, so it gets on 84 and then, okay. I was just asking because I would envision that people were able to do so. They park in Troutdale and take those spots and then get on a shuttle and then there's no,
Yeah, it
commerce
doesn't.
going on.
Well, it does not, no. So they only are parking in the outlet mall.
Okay.
And that's one of the benefits of them being at the outlet mall is they can use all that parking that isn't currently being utilized. And we're also working with Sasquatch Shuttle for this summer for the Sandy River Shuttle pilot. So people will also be able to park at the outlet mall and take that to go float on the Sandy River. So we're hoping that'll alleviate some of the congestion at the parks too.
So is the permit for parking at Multnomah Falls on the old highway, or is it?
No, it's for the I-84 parking lot.
Okay, I was just trying to,
But Sasquatch Shuttle does rent Historic Land River Highway parking lot from the railroad, and they charge for parking at that parking lot. So they have done dynamic pricing with that, where it's more expensive to park at the Historic Land River Highway Multnomah Falls parking lot. So that parking, like the revenue they generate off of that helps subsidize the Multnomah Falls Express, which is only $5. It only costs $5 to get on the bus to go to Multnomah Falls and come back with that I-84 lot. And it's so cheap.
$50 to park.
It's $20 to park in the other lot. And so that $20 helps subsidize the shuttle.
and so, I know at one time it was, you didn't have a permit to get in, you couldn't even like pass
Crown Point.
Angel's Rest.
Right, I thought it was Crown Point.
Oh, that was 1 year.
Okay, so you could still, if somebody came and they wanted to wander the waterfall, you can still do it, you just can't stop at Multnomah Falls.
You could, you would just have to pay $20 per park.
Okay.
And trust me, people are willing to do it. There's never an empty spot in that lot.
Oh, that's
so-
what it's always saying, parking lot full.
Yeah, it's still parking lot full all the time. And there's a staff person during the summer who is stationed there that Sasquatch Shuttle pays for, that helps move traffic so they don't stop and wait for a parking spot to open up and block the whole highway, which used to happen all the time. So they're essentially providing a flagging service for the highway.
Or it would get so parked up that it could fit one car in on the east side going up on that viaduct. You riding a bike, I just remember it used to get really
Which
sketchy.
it is illegal to park on the side of the Historic Land River Highway. People do it all the time, but it is illegal.
Shepherd's Dale. On that one that I just,
It's illegal to park on what part of the highway?
it says to park
On
on
any
the side of the
part
highway.
of the road.
On the side of the road.
Except for apparently Shepherd's Dale, which, and it
Been
could
in
be.
Troutdale lately?
Well, okay, so this is where it gets really confusing, because Historic Land River Highway in Troutdale is different than Historic Land River Highway on the other side of the bridge. On the other side of the bridge, it's ODOT, on our side, it's Multnomah County. So Multnomah County, it's not a highway. The state law is that it's illegal to park on the side of a highway in the state of Oregon unless it's for an emergency. I have been in meetings with ODOT where they are insistent that we should all know this rule because we have valid driver's licenses, and so it's our responsibility to know these things. I think what they don't fully recognize is that people who aren't from Oregon don't know that the Historic Land River Highway is a highway, even though that's in the name. It doesn't look like an interstate. And so, they're not gonna park on the side of the interstate, but they don't recognize that that's what you're talking about with the historic Columbia River Highway. And so they park illegally on the side of the highway. I think there's certain sections of the highway that are designated as parking areas. For instance, on the other side of the Troutdale Bridge, there's that whole gravel parking area, but that's state parks. That's actually all part of the Lewis and Clark State Park. So that is legal to park on. It's not. But it gets pretty confusing, and
I'm just thinking along the road.
yeah, well, ODOT doesn't want to sign it every however many feet because they don't want to have to maintain the signs. But I don't think that people realize that they can't park. Yeah, it's confusing.
I drove by it, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I drove by it today and with Glenn, and he was mentioning we're seeing more erosion. So the cars parking there aren't just, like maybe legal without knowing it. But with our popularity of the Sandy, and more people trying to go to it, it's eroding, and at some point it will affect the road itself. Yeah, so it's just something to.
One of the things that I would love to see is, especially in the section between where the boat ramp is at Lewis and Clark State Park and where the Troutdale Bridge is a pedestrian path or trail, bike ped path. I think that the trails could be used as a tool to prevent parking on the shoulder. Because if you look at the section just before that, people don't park on the trail because there's a trail right next to the road. So it's very clear you can't park there, because if you were to park on the side of the road there, you'd be in the middle of the trail. And we all pretty much know that you can't park on the sidewalk or a trail like that. I say pretty much because you never know what some people will do. But I feel like that could be something we could explore to build something that people will use that will also deter the bad behavior that we don't want to occur.
I think that was the past plan with, I remember talking to ODOT a long, long time ago. And that just hasn't come to fruition, but that was, they logically thought that made sense because of the big, large use and then the danger. Yeah, it's very, very, very dangerous for them walking that.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. And so if we could connect, even just like, the dream would be the whole, to first start with the section between the boat ramp and the bridge, and then the bridge all the way to the Stark Street Bridge. And then, then we have those connection pieces and people can actually go on longer hikes. Obviously there's a lot of people that have homes along that stretch. That's why Tanny's giving me that look, but
I'm not giving you any look.
so there's so much feasibility that would need to go into that, but it would be really that is something we've heard from the community that they really want more trail connections, and that's something that I think could be both a tool to prevent the behavior we don't want to occur to not occur, while also providing a resource to people that they will use and benefit from. So
I was gonna say, I would agree with you, there's definitely a lot of erosion that's happening there, and some of these people, their vehicles are gonna become a flotation device if they're not real careful. And, but also too, it's like trying to construct in that is really hard, because you got the riparian area there.
and the National Scenic Area.
In National Scenic Area, and you're right in the channel of the river, and people tend to get a little excited if you're doing cut and fill in there.
There's a lot, it would take a lot of work. I will say though, that ODOT is constructing a trail connection off of Jordan Park Road. So it's the piece between the Sandy River Delta and Jordan Road, which is the name of the road when it's not the historic Columbia River Highway anymore. So when it's approaching 84, it stops being historic Columbia River Highway, and it's called Jordan Road. I don't think it's signed very well, and people know that. But so it's basically that we'll have this bike ped connection to the Sandy River Delta that's going to be improved upon. They're working on that this year. They got the contract to do that.
Up on the north part?
Yes.
Okay, because
Yes. So the part because it's already all connected to Lewis and Clark State Park. So this is the finishing connection pieces for the Sandy River Delta. So that's gonna happen this year. Construction will begin. Oh, okay, so downtown events. This year, you might have noticed that the marketing looked a bit different for the downtown events, and that's because we had the destination brand. So these were some of our different advertising posters and whatnot. Specifically, these were located in the Big Belly trash cans, which are those new trash cans that you might see all over downtown and in the parks. It's great because we don't have to have a bulletin board all over the place to promote things. We can just use the panels on the sides of these Big Belly trash cans to talk about our different events. And I'm going to keep the marketing looking the same this summer, just update all the dates and whatnot. And we've got First Friday on the left, we've got our whole event lineup in the middle, and then we've got the music at the market on the right. And you'll see the vintage photos in those and how we utilize those. That's what some of the marketing looked like. And for First Friday, I've got the data updated from 2021 to 2025. And we use a service called Placer AI for this information. And 2025, you'll see that July looks a little weak, but that's because we did not have a July 1st Friday because it fell on the 4th of July and would be very difficult and expensive to put on. Unfortunately, this summer we will also not be able to have a July 1st Friday because the way that the holidays land, while the holiday is on Saturday, the city staff recognize it on Friday, so we will have to pay everyone holiday pay to work that, which is cost prohibitive, unfortunately.
I was just thinking, was there an issue with the heat one day? I thought there was something canceled.
It was in 2024.
Oh, was that it, 2024? Okay.
I can't remember if it was 2024 or 2023, but it doesn't really look like it happened. So I don't know which one it was. Either way, people probably still came downtown and went to all the businesses, even if the event wasn't fully on. So you can see the June is in red, July is in blue, August is in that gold color, and September is in green. And then the average Friday of that year is in the tan sort of color. And I like to put the average for the whole year in these reports so that you can really see how the Friday with this event going on compares to an average Friday in Troutdale, to really show that difference in what's a normal Friday versus what's a Friday with the event going on, and how many more people are coming to downtown. One of the things that's really nice about the average is you can also see how average Fridays have increased over the years too, and how we've grown that. And so, you know, I think that the impact of the events doesn't just happen on the events. We see more visitation to our downtown because the events bring them down and then they want to come back again. And so we're seeing it has effects beyond just the event itself on people coming down. In June, really took a leap there. It used to be the less visited of the First Friday dates, and for the past 3 years, we've had really, really great Junes. So that's really exciting. But yeah, that's the First Friday data.
Can I ask a really ignorant question? This Placer Labs, how does that work?
It's cell phone data. So it's randomized, and we can't assign any like personal data to the data, but it uses cell phone pings to basically create an algorithm to predict how many people were in an area at that given time. So it's not like I know for 100% certainty that the exact number of people were there, but it does have what's called, I don't remember the term they use now, but there's a term for the panel visits. Panel visits are actual, they know those people were there because they have that data, that number of people were there. And then they have an algorithm that takes into account all these other various different things to create the actual number of how many people they believe were there. And it's pretty accurate. The other thing that's really crazy is it knows the difference between residents and employees and visitors. So I come to downtown Troutdale every single day, but I do not live in downtown Troutdale, so it would know that I'm an employee versus a visitor. And so that's pretty crazy that it can really get that granular with it. But so this is truly visitors, not residents or employees of the downtown area. So we're really seeing how many people are visiting that area, not just working in that area, not just living in that area. So it's pretty creepy and crazy at the same time. I figure if everyone else is gonna get to use it, we might as well benefit from it too. Windy Wonderland, here's the information on that, and you can see I pulled the poster for that one on this page as well, with that vintage Christmas photo. When we don't have a great Troutdale photo, we also do use stock photos, and I will say this is a stock photo. But we've got the 2021 through 2025. I will say 2021 is the first year that the city started doing the events and expanding upon the events. So that's why we're looking at the data from that year. And Windy Wonderland was an event that we created in 2021. Previous to that, we had just done the tree lighting, and it was on Friday evenings, and people bundled up, came out, saw the tree get lit, and then went back home to their cozy homes. And we really wanted to make it more of a downtown celebration, bring people out for a full weekend, try to get as many people downtown as possible. So we added holiday market, we added selfies with Santa. We've got the Harlow Hunt, which is a really, really fun scavenger hunt. The downtown businesses absolutely love the Harlow Hunt. Any of the businesses can participate. They get this little custom Harlow that was made in Troutdale, that his friends call him Harry. And they hide him all throughout town, and I make this scavenger hunt map, and then people can come and find all the Harlows, and then they get a free gift. And people do it every single year, and this year I got to sit at the gift table for quite a bit of the event and talk to people, and we had so many new people and families who had never done it before and did it for the first time, and they just, like, this is the coolest thing. We're so, like, we can't believe that you do this. We're gonna come do this scavenger hunt every single year. And so the businesses really get a lot of visibility through that, because even if someone's not shopping again at that one time, they now know that business exists. And so people who have driven through Troutdale for years and never stopped at any of the businesses are now going inside of them. And like, for instance, Jean from Artistry Northwest, she, the first year that we did Windy Wonderland was her first year being in the location that was just right at the end of Buxton and Historic Columbia River Highway. And that was her first introduction to the community. That was the first time that they really got to learn that her business was there, was at Windy Wonderland. And now, this past year, she moved to a new location, which is at Harlow and Historic Columbia River Highway. And she was able to then tell everyone, I've moved, like, this is my new location. And now people got to be like, oh my gosh, it's so much bigger. You've got so much more stuff. It's so beautiful. You know, it's like she got to share that with everyone, which was really exciting. And she said that in that weekend, she did more sales than she did for the entire month of October. In just one weekend. So it's really been really, really good for the downtown businesses. And you can see the Saturdays are in red on this, Sundays in green. Weekend total is in that cream tannish sort of a color. And then blue is the weekend total annual average. So I took the Saturday and Sunday of every single week in the year, totaled them, and then averaged that total. And you can see how that compares to the weekend total for the event and how much more people are coming down. So yeah, it's just been very, very popular and very, very fun event to put on. So next we've got the tourism visitation. These are the numbers that I was saying were just released like 2 days ago. And so I just pulled all this information, and they made some changes in the way that they give us this information and represent some of this information. So I'm still learning all those little new tweaks. And things look a little bit different than it did in the previous year. But in 2025, the city of Troutdale attracted 2.4 million out-of-market day and overnight visitors. So these are people who do not live within the city of Troutdale, and they're either, and they do not live in the city of Troutdale. They either visited for the day or they stayed overnight. But they are not residents of Troutdale. They are not employees in the city of Troutdale. They are not inbound commuters. This is one of those numbers that changed because last year that number was like 11.7, but that included inbound commuters for the whole year. So people who come into Troutdale every single day to go to work at Amazon or FedEx or Edgefield or wherever it may be. So now it does not include that. Now these are just visitors. And we're looking at 2.4 million. They generated over $28 million in visitor spending. Previously, that number, like last year when I did this report, that number was over 80 million. But that again included all of those inbound commuters who might buy gas every single time they're coming through town, you know. And it also used to include gas, and now they took gas out of it. So gas was like 20 million for us alone. So that's a huge portion of that visitor spend that I showed last year that isn't showing now. So now what you're seeing is really the hotel spend, the dining spend, the shopping spend, the groceries spend too. All those truly like tourism dollar spends, and not just people who are coming here every day and buying gas. And that 28.2 million is actually up 11.3% year over year from the 25.3 million that was in 2024. And that's both the day and the overnight visitors. I'm gonna have to delete the part about 25% of our visitation being from out of state because I haven't recalculated that, and so I don't know if that's still true, but I'm sure it probably is. I will say that our breakdown of visitors is about 75% day trip visitors, 25% overnight visitors. And that's been consistent for a very long time. So we see a lot more of the day visitors than we do the overnight visitors. That said, we had 508.9 thousand visit nights, which are the total number of nights stayed by overnight visitors in the market. So that's the amount of nights that people stayed here.
And that's just related to the downtown core?
No, this is Troutdale.
Oh,
Troutdale as a city, yeah. Yeah, because we don't have any hotels in our downtown core actually. So one is under construction right now, which is great, and then we've got some of the Airbnbs as well. But this is the whole city of Troutdale. And the other number that I've got up here is the average monthly visitors. And so taking all of this and averaging it, it's 33.7 thousand average monthly visitors to the city. So many people are coming in and seeing Troutdale.
And I can't remember, I should have paid attention. Edgefield is considered Troutdale or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, Edgefield is considered Troutdale. The Motel 6 is another hotel, as is the Holiday Inn Express and the Comfort Inn, and then the Sandy River RV Resort. Those are our traditional like hotels,
Lodging areas.
lodging facilities, and then we have all the short-term rentals, and then the boutique hotel will be an 8-room boutique hotel in downtown, hopefully this summer.
Excuse me, you said 8 boutique hotel. Is it did they end up wanting to include dining?
Yeah, the whole first floor is a restaurant and the patio area. Yep.
Okay, and I'm asking because I drive past downtown multiple times a day. I'm seeing younger people trying to extend their night visit, but then when everything closes so early, there's not, they look all ready to like explore Troutdale, do the nightlife. There isn't much of a nightlife.
There is not much nightlife.
Well, the Lolo's even closes, I think everything shuts down by 9 for sure.
Yeah, that is one of the areas that we struggle with a little bit is not having too much nightlife. But Wayfinder, I'm sure, is adding to the nightlife of town, and with this going in at the other end, I think that'll help with that too.
I didn't realize Bandits closes so early too.
I used to close at 10. I don't know what time they close now, but
I
then,
think they're 2 a.m.
Bandits.
Yeah,
no,
they on the weekends are at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
It doesn't Wayfinder close at 9?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then the old city hall, that is still, hopefully will be a restaurant as well.
Hopefully. And I think with Wayfinder and Bandits, it might be that they have reduced hours right now, but during the summer, they stay open later. I know during the summer, they close at 2 a.m. because it was them and Taste of Village that were the two bars that were open to 2 a.m.
And then any progress on TADS?
Progress on tabs?
No. They are, it's still for sale, looking for a new owner.
I feel like Ritma had said he was gonna work on the other side, that parking being part of it.
Yeah, so there was a little issue with parking. We've worked out a solution with the county. And so now we have that solution solved. So somebody would have to go through the right process to use that lot as parking, but it's feasible, which is huge.
We have the path forward. If
Yeah.
anyone would like to purchase TADs, you can call us. And we will help you.
Don't sit by the phone.
So the other cool thing that this shows us is the visitor origins, so where these people are coming from when they stay in Troutdale, and you will see that it's pretty much across the map, except for North Dakota. So
Well, that's North
call
Dakota.
your North Dakota friends and tell them to come on out.
Is there anybody here from North Dakota?
I know someone from North Dakota.
I'm not sure there's many people that
I will
live in
talk
North
to her.
Dakota, but
Her family needs to come visit.
there you go. If you can get them on the map for next year, we will give you a gold sticker. But we've got a lot of visitation we get a lot of staycationers from the Portland Metro going out to Edgefield for summer concerts and for just hanging out in the wintertime. I recently found out that it is popular for our locals and probably also Portlanders to book one of the hostel rooms at Edgefield and not actually stay overnight. They just want to use the soaking pool, and you get access to the soaking pool when you are staying overnight. So this is a real thing that I am now realizing occurs. They will book one of the hostel rooms because it's so cheap and just not stay there.
Or get a pedicure too.
That is the other thing. You
They
can
will
get a spa
allow
treatment.
you to use the pool all day.
Yep. So
Good to know.
people like hanging out at McNiven's and they really want to use that heated soaking pool, which it is a pretty cool.
Suddenly we'll all be there sometime.
Next meeting at the heated soaking pool.
I'll make a note of that.
So you can see really that people are coming from all over, but a lot of it is coming from the West Coast and apparently Chicago, where we have a stronghold. And it's really fun to sort of dig into these details, but it does help us with marketing. We know that we could do marketing in Seattle, in the Los Angeles area, the San Francisco and Bay Area, and we would get good return on those investments, and that's what this helps us see. And so we actually can break it down even further and see that the Seattle-Tacoma area is 62,000 of the trips, and we can see the average monthly visitors that are coming from there, and how many visit nights they had, and how many days they stayed, and we know that, so that's our highest one. Our best market to is the Seattle area. Following that, it's within Portland, and then after that, it's Chicago, shockingly. And then LA, Sacramento, Eugene, New York, Yakima, Pasco, Richland, Kennewick, Washington, and Spokane. So just really interesting data that helps us tailor where we might put some marketing dollars towards. And then looking just at downtown, so this is taking that data and going deeper than just the whole city, looking at downtown. We've got the downtown visitation report, and I'm happy to say that this is the most visits we've seen in downtown Troutdale since, well, it's not even since we don't know when, if there was ever, maybe possibly ever, because it doesn't go back forever. But we had 732,609 visits to downtown Troutdale in this past year, and the previous year it was 663 6,286, and that was also surpassing 2019, which was pre-COVID. And so for the past 2 years, we've been above those pre-COVID numbers, which I think is really great, something to celebrate. And you can see how the red line for 2025 is far exceeding in those summer months the other years. We can do some forecasting for the next year, and hopefully it's really good, but it's definitely challenging times right now, and I don't have a super hopeful outlook for all of tourism this year, just because we're really struggling as a country to promote ourselves, so we're not getting as many Canadian visitors, and also then even within the state, it's just hard. People are really, they don't have a lot of income to be spending on travel, and so we might not get as good of reports, but hopefully we can still encourage people that are local to the area to come on out. So we'll see how it all shakes down, but most of the outlooks across the state, across the country, are not as good as previous years.
I think a lot of people are gonna stay local, I mean, in Oregon, because again, it's cheaper. But you also get to find out different things that you've never seen before, because you can't travel, or you can't afford to travel very far. So, I mean, we're like next door, even across the river, we're next door.
Yep. Yeah, and Oregon is one of those states that people love to travel within the state. Having grown up in a state where that does not occur, Kansas, I didn't know anything about anywhere else in the rest of the state. We didn't travel within the state of Kansas. Like, we did not go to Wichita for vacations. You didn't do that unless you had a grandparent that was out there. But Oregon is one of those states that when you move here, you travel within the state, and so much of the marketing dollars actually does stay within the state, because so much of your visitation can come from the people who are already here. And that's something that's, I think, really unique about Oregon that you don't see happening in every other state, because there are so many cool and interesting and beautiful places, and diversity across, the landscapes just vary so much, and there's always something fun to do. So we do have that benefit, and so hopefully we'll get a lot of people coming out here and checking out Shuttle. So in 2026, one of the fun things that we're working on is actually distributing these brochures and maps and everything that we made to the different welcome centers, to the Portland hotels, to these different other places, and getting more of the marketing out there. As I said, we passed the short-term rental TLT code changes, but we now need to actually start collecting it, and so that's going to take updating some forms and informing the lodgers of those facilities of what their requirements are, all the marketing and everything that goes along with getting those places onto our Explore Troutdale website. That's the other thing I forgot to put on here. Updating the Explore Troutdale website. It currently doesn't have the new destination brand, so that's one of the big things we're working on this year, is getting that done and getting that all up to date. Promote and activate the Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park, and also do some interpretive signage that we're working on right now. And then we've got the Sandy River Shuttle pilot program, which I mentioned, which is the fun little logo that you can see on the right there. The Trout Route is what we would like to call it. Fun, right? So, and actually, even the name, the Trout Route, is somewhat historic, because the streetcar used to come to Troutdale, and it stopped in front of Edgefield, which was at that time the Multnomah County Poor Farm, because people had to get to the Poor Farm, and stopped where the Shell station is, because that's where the streetcar line ended. So Halsey Street was not a county road initially, it was a streetcar line, and then later became a county road, and the nickname of that line was the Trout Route, because it took you from Monteville to Troutdale. So we're bringing it back for our Sandy River Shuttle.
I like it.
I like it.
And I put this logo together last week, so you guys are the first ones to see it. And Erica and I are like, let's put it on a t-shirt.
I like the way it's presented too.
It looks like, my favorite part is the way the fins line up to look like a winding sandy river through.
Oh, I hadn't even paid
Like between
attention.
them. That's just sort of what it reminded me when I was putting it all together, so, yeah. That'll be this summer. It'll be on the weekends, that you can take the trout route. It picks up at the outlet mall. It has a flag stop at the visitor center downtown. It also stops at, Glen Park and Dabney State Park. And so you won't have to park at either of those parks to float the Sandy River, or to just go to any of those parks and just enjoy them and not want to deal with parking. It's going to be a day pass sort of situation, so you'll pay the pass, you'll pay the fee, and you'll be able to ride it as much as you want within that day. So you could go up to Dabney and then go to downtown and then go to the outlet mall, or you could just float the river and then go back to the outlet mall. You have some options with that. We're looking at doing a group pass offering as well, so that if you're traveling with a larger group, there's a discount, or if you're traveling with a family and you want to do all this, there's a discount with that too. As I mentioned, Sasquatch Shuttle is going to be our partner shuttle provider with that, and they've also purchased river grade floats and life jackets, so they'll be offering those as rentals. So you can get a river grade rental. You don't have to bring your own float, which means that we can offer it as an experience to visitors, and that's expanding on the visitor experience offerings in Troutdale. Because previously you couldn't float the river. You really couldn't do that if you were visiting this area. You had to come with multiple cars. You had to come with a float. You had to come with life jackets. You had to come with all of this various equipment, and so it was really not something that we saw tourists doing. It was just locals and Portlanders and people within the metro area, and so we're hoping more tourists will participate in this and enjoy the Sandy River the way that we all enjoy the Sandy River.
Are they going to be issuing permits as well on the new legislation that came into effect?
So the watercraft legislation excludes the river floats now. They modified it.
The inner tube?
The inner tube ones, yeah. Yeah, so now it's only
You just have to tell them, don't tie them together.
Yeah, right. Well, and we do, because it's not safe. And luckily we have the lifeguards at Glen Otto, but that was part of the reason, we did so much feasibility study planning work that went into this, and we heard from a lot of people that they really wanted it. They've always historically floated from Dabney to Lewis and Clark. That's what all the locals do. They don't get out at Glen Otto. Glen Otto is more of the beach goers. And because we were making this a tourist attraction as well, we're inviting people who are not familiar with this river to come and do this. We wanted it to end at Glen Otto because that gets people out of the river before the rapid around that rock right under the bridge. And so it's a safer exit point than having them go to Lewis and Clark. Also, if they accidentally miss Glen Otto, they can still get out of Lewis and Clark, and we don't lose them down the Columbia. Just trying to think about people who aren't familiar with the area, but we're going to be coming up with a lot of print materials and how to recreate responsibly, all these things that they need to consider. And we're really glad that we have this is also a promotional opportunity for us to spread the word about how we do have the lifeguards at Glen Otto, because that's a truly unique thing. It's one of two sites in the entire river sites in the entire state that have the lifeguards, and I think we should be shouting that from the rooftops, because that's really impressive. And I know that was created out of necessity and out of awful things happening, but it makes a lot of people feel really safe and comfortable bringing their families and enjoying Glen Otto Park and Beach, and so I want to share that with you too. Finished.
Good job.
Longest report ever. I'll have to trim it down for the council.
No, but it's interesting. I mean, it's well done, well done.
This is the detailed review. They'll get the Cliff Note version, and I'll tell them if they want more details, they can listen into this recording.
Okay, comments, questions? Right, you're looking for feedback.
Yeah. Any feedback?
No, I don't. I think I like it.
I feel like I gave you my feedback along the way, whatever it might have been.
Couple things, just a couple thoughts. And I think it's the third slide. You talk about encouraging car-free travel. And if you're coming here to go to the gorge, you're probably going to have a car.
Yeah, so the strategic impact areas are future visioning, so trying to imagine what we're working towards, and if we're working towards less people driving cars to see the waterfalls or to go float the Sandy River, then this is all about doing the Sandy River Shuttle pilot, partnering with Sasquatch Shuttle, getting the alternative transportation options so that you don't have to have a car to get from the airport to our hotels to the recreation opportunities or the visitor experiences that you want. So, yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of in the next year, right? Because that's what your plan is. In the next year, are we going to be able to accomplish that very well?
Well, the next year, we're gonna be doing the Sandy River Shuttle pilot, and so when you look at the full plan, this is broken into like 20 different things. And so the strategic impact areas, they're for the 15-year vision. So this is actually thinking like 15 years.
Okay.
What do we want this to look like? And so I pulled this little bit out of it, but if you look at the whole strategy, it has a whole vision for 15 years, like what do we want Troutdale to look like, and what do we want that visitor experience to look like? So that's really what it's speaking to, not like a tomorrow people aren't going to be driving cars. So that's
I was going to say, I thought the handwritten note cards is a phenomenal idea.
Yeah.
One comment, when we did the tree lighting, right, the prizes, it seemed like it was a lot of prizes going to one individual. Is there a way to maybe spread that out a little
raffle?
bit? Yeah,
yes.
maybe have more than one winner. It's just like you got 1,000 people there and one person wins something and everybody else doesn't. I don't know. It just seemed like if there was like maybe half a dozen people that won something, it might have a little bit more juice to
Yeah,
it.
we've done it multiple ways. So we've done it where every individual thing gets raffled off, and we've done it as like it's all one basket of things. So we can definitely look at that.
And then the only other thing I had was on your to-do list for 26, you would like to advance those 4 things, right? Maybe those are like internal goals or something. I'm just wondering, we'd like to advance them. Wouldn't we want to just say, this is our plan? Or do we need?
Yeah, I can modify that. And I think there's
approval.
there's a couple of things that aren't in that list either that I would like to add to it too. So
Maybe just like, this is where we're trying to go.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know, that's all I had. How you guys doing online? Comments, anything? Hey, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Chair. Marley, excellent presentation. It wasn't that long. It was okay. I am seeing just observations going through Sharon Nesbitt. We're seeing more people parking at the outlet mall and actually walking their dogs and other like children and families coming down that 257th Way route. I think that just speaks to us about looking for the summer and maybe doing qualitative studies. I know we're talking about a security camera. Maybe we could utilize that for some of the numbers that we're seeing. That I don't know if your data program will give us that kind of a look. It'll just tell us where they're at. And then add that to the fact that the Jordan Road shared path extension, that opens up the Starbucks walk literally right into the Sandy River Delta 1,000-acre area on paved trail. So it's ADA accessible. It just creates this whole other opportunity, and they're going right through Sharon Nesbitt, basically. So I think we're going to see this increase in numbers down there coming from the mall. And I think that mall is going to become a key parking area, and people actually park there and then utilize Sharon Nesbitt to go to downtown Troutdale as well. So I think you're tracking on all of the stuff. I want to highlight, Diane actually brought up the waterfalls in Troutdale. I think that is something, having lived here for 30 plus years and doing runs along that route, most people don't even know we have some gorgeous waterfalls between Troutdale Bridge and Stark Street Bridge. Maybe that's something to put on the note list of things to do in the future. Um, Obviously, it's a narrow historic highway, but it's also a highway, and that's the way ODOT sees it. The section between Troutdale and Corbett is a challenge and for a biker unless you're actually experienced. And the speeds can be pretty aggressive, especially now with an increase in the vehicle size as well. My recommendation to people that aren't experienced riders is typically start up at Crown Point, which is or at Vista House, which is much safer. The speed limits go down, the routes are easier, and so on and so on. I don't know how that ties in with Troutdale as the starting point, but yeah, it's just something to be aware of. Love the postcard idea. And then thanks for bringing up how complicated it is with the different jurisdictions. Troutdale is unique. We have like 7 to 8 jurisdictions all within a mile. It is a complicated situation. So thank you for taking on such a daunting task and doing so well with it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Terrell, anything? On this? I'll go with not right now.
Hi, guys. Excellent presentation. I gave some notes throughout it. Marley, can I just swing by tomorrow? You gonna be in?
I work from home on Fridays.
Lucky you. I'll email you my notes. I took them from the car. So
That'd be perfect. Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Okay. You good on Sandy River Shuttle?
Yeah, that was the next one, but I think we folded it into that first.
Yes, I do feel like I
Folded in.
that in. Yep, so I think you've got that update. And to one of the points that Frank made earlier, I guess one thing I can do really quick, so I will make this share the screen again. In the placer thing, how do I escape this? So when I'm in here, this is the travel and tourism report. So this is where I'm pulling all that information from. And they actually send this report out monthly, so it gets updated monthly. And so one of the things I'm going to be doing this year is emailing that to our hotel, our lodging facility partners. So they'll get that information. But I wanted to show you what it looks like. Okay, this is my really confusing one from earlier today, but I can still show you. I'm comparing every single year here. That's why it's a lot of different stuff. The data that we get out of this is really, really interesting. And last year what I did was I generated I'm just going to make this easier for you guys to see it by removing all of these. These two. I don't know what year those are, but it's just 2 of them. It looks like 2021 versus 2025. So we get a lot of really interesting data out of this, but you can kind of manipulate it different ways, and you can create different points of interest. So right now it's just on downtown Troutdale, but we have a point of interest for the Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park. And you can see with this map right here, the visitor journeys. So we can see how people are coming to a location. So for Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park, we'll be able to see what roads they're taking most to access that park. With downtown, you can see it's pretty much any road that leads in, people are taking it, which is a good thing. The way I've used this in the past is when Sugar Pine opened, more people would drive through the Historic Climate River Highway through downtown to get to Glen Auto Park. Now we have a very large increase in the number of people that are taking I-84 and exit 18 and then crossing the Troutdale Bridge to get to Glen Auto Park. So that means that there's a lot more people utilizing that bridge, thousands more people that are using that bridge that didn't previously use that bridge. There's so much information that we can pull from that. And so,
Can you tell what they're wearing too?
no, I cannot. Although I can go into the demographic characteristics of other things. And so we can
Let's not.
pull some other information on that. Another thing we can do is we can look at the prior and post. So if we're on Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park, we can see how many people came from the Columbia Gorge outlets versus one of the businesses in downtown. Now, the Columbia Gorge outlets has its own point of interest that is this, you know, it's like a mall. So it's like the whole thing. Whereas for downtown, they don't have a whole downtown thing. So it's not gonna come up maybe in all of those. But you can see where they came from before and where they go to afterwards. You can do it by location or you can do it by, I prefer to do it by category group because the location, I mean, it's, you know, sometimes you could be right next to a Starbucks, but you're really in the Foot Locker or whatever is the case. So it can't always be perfect. I started just trusting that specific number when it told me how many people were going to a specific tattoo parlor after First Friday, and I was like, I really don't think that's actually occurring. I think that tattoo place might be in a strip mall next to some other grocery store that they're going to, or, you know, whatever. But so then we can see how many people are coming from home, how many people are, you know, going to a dining location afterwards, things like that. So we can get more information on that. Another thing I use quite a bit is the visitors by origin, broken down by zip code. So we can see that in downtown, let's put it on the year of 2025. In 2025, just under 20% of the visits to downtown Troutdale came from 97060 zip code, so mainly Troutdale residents. You can see that Gresham loves to come down, you got Corbett, you got Portland. So we can also look at the Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park and see where these people are coming from. I was able to look at this with Glen Auto Park, and that's how I learned that only about 10% of the visits to Glen Auto Park are coming from 97060 zip code residents. Now that's the highest category of any of the zip codes, like the most amount of the highest percentage of people are coming from that one zip code, but it is only 10%. And so that gives us a lot of detail into who's using parks, or who's coming to downtown or going to a specific destination. We can also see things like household income and ethnicity, and we can compare the visits. I like comparing the visits to previous years versus previous weeks because previous weeks doesn't really tell me anything. The weather changes all the time, so you know that can sway a lot. But previous year I think is really helpful to compare the visit differences of one year to another. So you can see in our downtown, our March through May was way more than the year prior to that. I think a lot of that could be the smelt run. Whenever there's a smelt run, there's thousands of people in town, and then they also go downtown, and also just, you know, great weather in May and in April. We had a really good spring last year, so people come down more. So that's some of the information we get on that. We also get visit duration, so we can see how long people are here, and then hourly visits. So to Diane's earlier point, it really does die down after a certain time. Not much nightlife happening right here at 2 a.m. So that's the additional details that we can get out of that so that you guys are aware if you're ever questioning some of the parks or some of that other sort of stuff, that's it.
Is the Sasquatch and the trail helping the outlets? Is there any data on that? Have they mentioned anything more sales or foot traffic? Are they making it in the stores?
Have not talked to, I mean, I haven't asked the outlet those specific questions. I know that they also use Placer data, that's why they're all in there, is because they also have a contract with it. I think it certainly is helping bring people there. I don't know how many people are shopping at the other stores or not. There's another report that you can do in here when you're on the Troutdale market, and you can actually do the supply and demand for your retail sectors. And we're oversupplied in basically all categories of retail, largely because of the outlet mall. So we don't have enough demand to support the existing supply of retail. One of the things that we've talked about doing with the neighboring cities is sort of combining those numbers and seeing as a region, are we oversupplied in things? Or, you know, are people from Gresham gonna come to Troutdale for retail? Another one that I looked at on there was that healthcare facilities. We're undersupplied in healthcare facilities in Troutdale, Wood Village, and Fairview, but Gresham is oversupplied in healthcare facilities. So does that mean that our demand is then just going into Gresham and we're losing, you know, we're leaking that market then to Gresham? So that's what we sort of want to look at regionally, is what's happening with the supply and demand and where that's all going. I don't know for sure. I don't know how I got on that topic, honestly, but
If you run the radius out, that's gonna
Yeah.
even itself out.
yeah. But I think what I was trying to say was that the outlet mall maybe it might be getting some of that residual benefit from Sasquatch Shuttle being there, but there are other challenges with the fact that we're oversupplied in retail, and so I think that, you know, it could be having an effect on that, but I think that there's larger issues with visitation there that aren't going to be solved by one business moving in there. It's going to be a struggle for them, I think. So.
I think Cascade Station had a lot to do with it. When you have no taxes and people can come from Vancouver and just go near the airport instead of coming all the way to our.
It's a lot easier for people from Washington to go to Cascade Station.
And they're having some really good choices there too for retail.
Yeah, and shopping is just, I mean, retail shopping is just completely different now. Outlet malls used to be something where you had to go to an outlet mall to get outlet mall pricing. And outlet stores are all online nowadays. You can go to the Gap Factory online. You can go to all these different factory stores and shop online. And so a lot of times people only go to the outlet mall to do their returns instead of to do their purchasing. So that is, I think we're just really going to see a change in the way the retail landscape looks.
And maybe we are with the URA stuff that's being discussed, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I have any more updates.
All right. Move on. Mr. Hill?
Thank you, fascinating. Yeah, love it. That's all I have.
Thank you, fabulous marketing. You're making this a special, happy place with the visuals and the information and everything, which is really nice. So as we're struggling for dollars or just trying to make this place special for us locals, and then for other people, I'm really glad the money, I helped with the chamber, but I'm really happy with the direction, that seeing that the money and how it's working for us, again, for locals and then for tourists as well, to help keep us, let us have places that we can possibly go to eat and to enjoy. So, yeah, thank you very much. I'm very happy. This is really nice. Okay, this is the artist in me, okay? The only thing, I love all this stuff, but our fish, your new fish that you did is so fabulous that I can't see it. Because, I have glasses and I take it off, and that's our little trademark there, and you came out with that new fish that you showed at the beginning. And then when you saw those lines and you saw, the gorge, and it's fabulous, so I'm missing a little bit of the happiness from that fish. And then your little theme of what is it? Take me to the...
It says, take me to the river floating in the water.
Yeah, so Talking Heads song, right? Okay, so I'm singing
But I made
a
it
song with
work.
our lyrics.
Yeah, we changed the lyrics.
Okay, and then some cool visuals, later on, if we have a video.
Yep.
It'd be really cool to just so they could, have that new video and have a different variation.
There's a lot of play on words with our brand.
I could tell, yeah.
The First Friday poster is like, they'll be dancing in the street, so it's like, it is just a really fun, playful brand while also having these really like refined elements of it.
Yeah, right.
And
And nostalgia, I said creating a space, so it's fun. I'm really enjoying the marketing. Thank you.
Yeah, me too, and honestly, I just love this. It makes me happy.
Okay, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, I concur. Excellent presentation. I think the challenge of finding the balance between economics and keeping the values that we treasure here. I think you're spot on. I think you're doing a good job. Thanks, Marley.
Yes, thanks for the presentation, it was great. Thanks for bringing this. And I learned a lot.
I'm gonna say, I moved from the Midwest, South Dakota, and we collected postcards. And these are nostalgic in that they remind me of when I was a kid and we would buy a postcard. And I like it, it's a really great idea, especially with the car.
Yeah, and that's the Historical Society has that photo and let us use it, and I have a whole album of fun photos that I want to do on a series of postcards. So there might be more because there's some really cool photos out there that I think we could share. And one thing I actually forgot to mention earlier is you notice that it says like let's take a drive on it in that script font. And the inspiration from that script font came from a historic photo of Troutdale that we have that someone wrote in cursive along the top of it. Clearly they had mailed it to someone. They said, "Isn't this such a cute little town? I'm in love with it," on the top of it. And so I thought that was my computer screen background for years. And I thought it was so charming that I was like, we need a script font in our brand. And I want to do the same thing. Like I want to make a postcard that does that same thing that someone years ago did on this photo of Troutdale. And so even that has like Troutdale in the meaning,
Makes me want to take a drive.
Yeah.
No, nice job, ladies. Thank you. And with that, if there's not anything else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Sherry, a second?
Okay, we have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, we are adjourned, and we will let you know when the next meeting is.